How's it going, guys? Lucas here. This is pretty much a maintenance update, so I will start with these 4 nodes, but we will get more and more, and I will update the entire Lazy Panda toolkit to Houdini 21 and thereby also explain what is actually going on with all those nodes. So you can see there's quite a bit to do here. Most of them should pretty much work in 21. There might be some hiccups here and there. You can always open them and have a look inside yourself, or just let me know in Discord. But yeah, I started with those 4 nodes and I kind of want to go over them and actually show you what they do. And at the same time, yeah, update everything and release a stable Houdini 21 version from now on. Yeah, that's the plan. All right, let's start with the first one, and that's the line curve. That's actually an old one, but still comes in handy quite a lot. So what you can do is you just have a geometry, and let's say you drew a curve on it, and now you want to copy in like instances to it. And you can build your own setup, no issue, or you just use the align curve tool, which makes it a bit easier. So what this is doing, you can see we have these arrows here. Let me template the point. And it's just checking the normals or the normal direction of the geometry, and it's aligning these instances to it. You can also pipe in your own instances here from the side. But by default, it's using these arrows to show you. And then we have quite a few settings here. So for once, we can resample the curve, so we can add more of those guys. We can replicate the points. So let's say you drew a curve, but you want to scatter grass or something on here. Then you can just hit replicate, and it gives you like a margin on how far the points go outward. And at the same time, you can also say, okay, I want like 2 points, 3 points, 4 points per single point that we had on the resampled curve. And with that, you can easily generate more objects, and they automatically also align to the normals. You can see they now intersecting. There is an option to fix those intersections at the very bottom, but you can see it obviously pushes them quite far away. You can adjust this point radius to make it a bit closer and find like a better value here. But yeah, if you set it to 1, there shouldn't be any intersections whatsoever. And they're still trying to point, but they're now getting a bit more influenced by their original position. So this is more an option for like closer scattering, I would say. So let's remove the fixed intersections, and here you can see, okay, this is like still pointing in the right direction. Then yeah, you have like scaling parameters, max, min, scale. You have an orientation, so you can rotate these guys, and it's actually animated. So if we set this to like 10, you can see they do this funky movement here. You can also say in Y, so they turn around their own axis only. Yeah, that's pretty much it, or all for like very random rotations, whatnot. You can go a bit crazy with the angle here as well and get a bit nicer movement. And then it's maybe a little fast now, but yeah, you can see where this is going. This is just here to get you like a very fast alignment. And yeah, allow you to quickly do some simple motion graphics or something like that. Cool. Up to the next one. So next one is the coral growth, also one of the older tools. And the only things you really need is you need like a starting geometry. Then you need to blast starting points out. They go in here. Starting geometry goes in here. And then you can pick between different styles. So if we stick to diff growth, you can see what's going on here. Let me actually show it like this. So this is using a differential growth inside. Then we have the recursive growth, which takes a bit longer because it's using VDBs. But that one is very fun to play with. And you have like I won't go over all the parameters right now. There's actually a separate tutorial somewhere in my YouTube that you can find that explains these parameters. But you basically, for each of them, you have settings. So this is the main one, this is the differential growth, and then we have the this is the differential growth. The main one is settings for both, and then we have the recursive growth, and we have the velocity field, which actually shows you the noise that you're setting, so you can control that a little bit better. Yeah, so differential growth is this one, and then we have the velocity field, we just looked at that, and then we also have the recursive growth, which makes those super fun tendril style thingies, which you can make look very nice with some beautiful shading. I mean, this pretty much looks like a coral. That's why I called it the coral growth generator. Yeah, that's the coral growth. Super fun to play with. Just play with the settings. Just no matter what number you change, you will get a very different result. So yeah, have fun playing with that one. And let's check the next one. Next one, debris generator. Just a handy little tool. You can see if I look at that, you don't see anything, so you need to put 2 nulls. First null is actually giving you the point, like all the pieces on the center point, so you can scatter them to you like debris simulation points. And the second one is actually showing them side by side. So what this is doing internally, it's creating pieces, 10 different pieces, wedge count. You can change that. You can change the seed. And it's doing that with like a top net internally. And I have a few different presets. I have basic, which is this one. I have sand, which is more rounded, and I have rocky. And if we hit like dirty all and cook output node with the sand, it wants me to save. That's fine. Let's do that really quick, and you can see it's starting immediately. First time you're doing this, it might show an error, but that disappears as soon as the process is done internally, so you don't really have to worry about that anymore. I pretty much rebuilt that one from the ground up because it didn't work in 21 because of many reasons. So yeah, it's much faster now than it was before, and yeah, it just like the internal process is a lot cleaner and a lot better. You can see it's not updating. That's because you need to actually reload the geometry. You need to reload the file cache internally. Yeah, that's the sand pieces. If you give them some nice translucent shaders, you can get quite nice results. I removed the material part, shading part that had internal. It had internal shaders for Redshift. It doesn't have them anymore because, yeah, quite frankly, it's better if you build them yourself in the render engine of your choice, and you don't get any errors if you put down the node and you don't have Redshift installed. The only thing you need to make sure you have is side effect labs. Although technically I don't think you need that anymore actually. But don't pin me down on that. I let it here for some reason. So yeah, make sure it's installed. I mean, it's good to install that anyways. So yeah, then we have Rocky. So dirty all, cook output node. Let's see what we get here. Should be quite quick as well. This one is a bit slower because it's using like VDB deformation stuff that's going on internally, so that might just take a little bit longer, but it will give you better results. I re-ramped that from the ground up as well. Had quite a different setup before, so not too bad. So you can see we have quite nice rocky shapes, which I would probably use if I had like bigger debris. So I would use those for like bigger pieces, and then probably use the basic one for everything, like for small pieces, pretty much. All right, up to the next one, and this is Dusty, which also I built quite a while ago, but I'm still using to this day because it's actually very nice to have. And yeah, it just makes your renders look so much better, in my opinion. And what it's doing is you just need a box to like define your scene. You could also do that with like a camera thrust trim if you want to optimize it a bit more. And then you put down Dusty, and you probably don't see anything here. If I show you the points, you can see there are a bunch of points. And if we go a bit closer here and maybe increase the global scale, you can see we have a bunch of like dust particles and like hairs and whatnot, and these are literally just dust particles. And if I hit play, you can see they're also moving, they're spinning slightly. We can increase this spin speed if you want, and you can play with the noise and so on. And yeah, if you render that with like a bit of depth of field, you get very nice like, yeah, dust pieces flying around in your scene, and it just like ramps up your scene by quite a bit. I mean, that obviously only really works if you have lighting that supports like dust floating around. So like a barn where the sun hits through like a hole to the inside or whatever. That's really what it's for, I would say. But yeah, as I said, I'm still using it to this day, and it's very fun to use. So enjoy. And that's like the first bunch, and I will continue doing this. Some of them I also already did quietly. I just don't want to make this video way too long and present all of them. But yeah, you can see we have 4 of quite a big list. Ooh, I don't find it. Here we go. So yeah, next one, dynamic stitching. Easy chain is already updated. There are very recent tutorials about this as well. Easy peel, also quite cool, should already work as well. You can actually, it's still in beta, so I will move those out of beta as well. Yeah, the easy chain construct and the link builder, they're a bundle basically, already working as well. And from there we go on and on. Another easy chain, easy slime, also actually just checked, it's working in 21. If you are on Discord, you can also find a scene file for this one that shows you how it works. And yeah, we will continue this series in a part 2 probably, because there's probably not enough for part 3, except I go into a bit more detail about yeah, a few of those are quite intense to play with, like the weaving and the stitching, and splashy, of course, is a big one that also definitely needs a few updates. But yeah, if you dive inside of that, you can see how much work that is. So yeah, I will update that as well though, and then we can have like a masterclass of splashy as well. By the way, I'm also planning to implement RBD support in there, so you can have a fluid sim and RBDs straight away, because I actually talking about that with a patron right now. And it's a bit sad that the SOP tools of Flip don't really support that right now. So yeah, I might just build that into Splashy. So it's better than the SOP tools if you want. Cool. See you in the next one. And yeah, have a good one. Cheers.